Satanism and Luciferianism. Many people think they're the same, but the truth is they're actually worlds apart, and what you're about to learn could change your perspective forever because we're exploring the shocking and controversial worlds of Satanism and Luciferianism, uncovering their true meanings and revealing why some people believe that Lucifer is the true champion of humanity. We'll be exploring the dark rituals and blasphemous beliefs of Satanism and uncovering the secret light of Lucifer found in hidden knowledge and secret societies. By the end of this video, you'll see why everything you thought you knew about good and evil might be totally wrong. My name is Morgue, and I'm an ex-Christian revealing hidden knowledge to create a new world. Remember to like and subscribe to help spread this information, and check out my new book, Neogenesis, Dawn of the New Mind. The link is in the description of this video. Growing up in a strict religious household, I was fed a steady diet of fear about Satan and taught to see Lucifer as the ultimate symbol of evil. But when I started exploring hidden knowledge, everything changed. So let's get one thing straight. Satanism and Luciferianism are not the same, and in many cases, they're actually the exact opposite. These two are actually like comparing apples and oranges, fire and ice, or darkness and light. So what are the key differences and similarities between Satanism and Luciferianism? Well, first, let's talk about Satanism. Does it involve dark rituals? What about sacrifices? And why would anyone worship the devil? Well, hold that thought, because there's actually two different types of Satanism. The two main branches are theistic Satanism and atheistic Satanism. Theistic Satanism involves the worship of Satan as an actual deity, a supernatural being. But we're focusing on a form of Satanism that's the most common today and has the most influence. This form, which falls under atheistic Satanism, is called LaVeyan Satanism. Anton LaVey, the founder of modern Satanism, was born on April 11th, 1930. In his teen years, LaVey ran away from home and joined a traveling circus. After leaving the carnival, LaVey worked as a crime scene photographer for the San Francisco Police Department. LaVey's experiences influenced his development of Satanism. He said, "On Saturday night, I would see men lusting after half-naked girls dancing at the carnival, and on Sunday morning, when I was playing organ for tent show evangelists at the other end of the carnival lot, I would see these same men sitting in the pews with their wives and children, asking God to forgive them and purge them of carnal desires. And the next Saturday, they'd be back at the carnival or some other place of indulgence. I knew then that the Christian church thrives on hypocrisy, and that man's carnal nature will out no matter how much it is purged or scourged by any white light religion." In the early 1960s, LaVey began hosting gatherings at his San Francisco home known as the Black House. These gatherings turned into rituals and ceremonies, and on April 30th, 1966, LaVey founded the Church of Satan, declaring 1966 as Year 1 Anno Satanis, the first year of the Age of Satan. In 1969, he published the Satanic Bible, and this book started a modern religious movement. So what is Satanism all about? Well, spoiler alert, it's not about worshiping Satan at all. So if they don't worship Satan, what do LaVeyan Satanists actually believe? In the Satanic Bible, LaVey writes, "Satanism is not a white light religion. It is a religion of the flesh, the mundane, the carnal, all of which are ruled by Satan." One of the main ideas in LaVeyan Satanism is rejecting traditional religious rules and dogma. LaVeyan Satanists see conventional religions, especially Christianity, as repressive and hypocritical. They view Satan as a symbol of human nature. Instead of trying to avoid sin and please a god, they embrace individual desires, animalistic instincts, and personal pleasure. In other words, they don't believe in Satan as a real being, and it's not about making deals with the devil. All the satanic imagery and symbolism is more about personal empowerment and giving the finger to Christianity. The official website of the Church of Satan says, "To us, Satan is the symbol that best suits the nature of we who are carnal by birth. He represents pride, liberty, and individualism, qualities often defined as evil by those who worship external deities." But why would anyone want to use Satan as their central symbol? Well, the word Satan actually means adversary, and I'm not a Satanist, and I've never been one, but I get it. Breaking away from my Christian upbringing wasn't easy. It's like trying to kick a bad habit, and when you go against everything that you've been brainwashed to believe since birth, this can lead to feelings of guilt, shame, and fear, but it also leads to a sense of liberation. So I understand why the symbol of Satan as the adversary of God can be helpful in breaking free from traditional beliefs. It's like jumping right into the deep end of the pool. Instead of fearing Satan, you embrace him as a symbol. Instead of avoiding sin, you indulge in your desires. Anton LaVey created what he called the 9 Satanic Statements, and this outlines exactly what Satan represents in LaVeyan Satanism. Satanism. Satanism represents indulgence instead of abstinence. Satan represents vital existence instead of spiritual pipe dreams. Satan represents undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. Satan represents kindness to those who deserve it instead of love wasted on ingrates. Satan represents vengeance instead of turning the other cheek. Satan represents responsibility to the responsible instead of concern for psychic vampires. Satan represents man as just another animal, sometimes better, more often worse than those that walk on all fours, who, because of his divine spiritual and intellectual development, has become the most vicious animal of all. Satan represents all of the so-called sins, as they all lead to physical, mental, or emotional gratification. Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had, as he has kept it in business all these years. When it comes down to it, Satanism is a materialist philosophy that advocates for a hedonistic lifestyle. Materialism is the belief that matter is the only thing that exists, and that spiritual or supernatural experiences are just illusions. In other words, what you see is what you get, and there's nothing beyond the physical world. Hedonism is the philosophy that pleasure or happiness is the highest good. In LaVeyan Satanism, this means embracing a life of indulgence instead of abstinence, and enjoying the material pleasures of the world without feeling guilty about it. In other words, when you put these two together, materialism and hedonism, it means that if you can't touch it or see it, it doesn't exist. So enjoy what you can touch and see. But does that mean that anything goes in LaVeyan Satanism? No, not at all. So there aren't any commandments in a religious sense, but there are guidelines. This is summed up in the 11 satanic rules of the earth. Do not give opinions or advice unless you are asked. Do not tell your troubles to others unless you are sure they want to hear them. When in another's lair, show him respect, or else do not go there. If a guest in your lair annoys you, treat him cruelly and without mercy. Do not make sexual advances unless you are given the mating signal. Do not take that which does not belong to you unless it is a burden to the other person and he cries out to be relieved. Acknowledge the power of magic if you have employed it successfully to obtain your desires. If you deny the power of magic after having called upon it with success, you will lose all you have obtained. Do not complain about anything to which you need not subject yourself. Do not harm little children. Do not kill non-human animals unless you are attacked or for food. When walking in open territory, bother no one. If someone bothers you, ask him to stop. If he does not stop, destroy him. The idea is to act in ways that benefit yourself while respecting the freedoms of others. Followers are encouraged to take control of their own lives and make their own decisions and face the consequences of their actions. In LaVeyan Satanism, you're the master of your own fate. This means no blaming external forces, gods, or other higher powers for your mistakes or praising them for your successes. It's all on you. But you may have noticed something strange, and that is that magic is mentioned in the satanic rules. But how can Satanists believe in magic if they reject the supernatural? Well, LaVeyan Satanism does include magic and rituals, but these are psychological, theatrical, and symbolic rather than mystical or supernatural. The rituals described in the Satanic Bible serve as psychodramas to help individuals overcome psychological barriers and tap into their personal power. One well-known ritual is called the Black Mass, which is a form of ritualistic blasphemy designed to mock Christian rituals. Well, why would anyone perform a ritual to mock another's religious practices? Well, because doing these rituals can help people let go of leftover guilt or fear from their old faith. Think about it. Have you ever done something in your life to get over something that was holding you back? I remember when I was leaving Christianity, I felt shame and guilt even if I would just curse. So rationally, I knew that these were just words and weren't actually sin, but the years of religious conditioning was still there. So I would actually make myself curse to get over it. Now, it might sound kind of silly, but over time, the guilt and shame completely disappeared, and now I don't give a shit. So I understand the need to do something cathartic, to break free from religious conditioning, which is what rituals like the Black Mass are all about. In a nutshell, LaVeyan describes what he calls materialist magic, and he categorizes them into two types, lesser magic and greater magic. But what exactly is the difference? Well, lesser magic is like psychological manipulation and personal charisma, and how you can use that to influence others and achieve your goals. For example, you might use charm or wit and empathy to make friends in order to build networks that will help you achieve your goals. Now, greater magic involves ritualistic practices that serve as a form of self-psychotherapy, helping practitioners to focus their will and achieve their desires. For example, a practitioner might perform a ritual to gain confidence before a job interview by lighting candles and visualizing their success and chanting affirmations. All of this is to psychologically boost their self-confidence, reduce anxiety, and put them in a strong positive mindset. Basically, it's like self-help with theatrics. So many Satanists view magic as a psychological tool instead of something that's actually supernatural. But Satanism hasn't just influenced individuals, it's had a huge impact on culture, especially in music, literature, and art. Bands like Black Sabbath and Marilyn Manson have drawn inspiration from Satanism, using it to shock, provoke, and challenge oppressive societal norms and religious rules. Now, this made Satanism famous, but it's also been greatly misunderstood. The Satanic Panic of the 1980s and 90s was a time when fear and paranoia about Satanism was everywhere, leading to extreme hysteria. People believed that secret satanic cults were abusing children and performing dark rituals all over America, and this led to false accusations, wrongful convictions, and a moral panic fueled by the media sensationalizing it. But guess what? Most of those wild claims turned out to be totally baseless. They weren't true. It was like a modern-day witch hunt, and many innocent lives were ruined by the senseless fear of the masses spiraling totally out of control. So LaVeyan Satanism isn't about devil worship at all. It's a misunderstood philosophy that challenges traditional religious beliefs and empowers individuals to embrace their personal freedom and responsibility. It's about rejecting unnecessary guilt and indulging in the pleasures of life. But what about Luciferianism? Well, hold on, I think we need a bit of a mood change. That's better. I was originally taught that Lucifer and Satan were the same, and that's what many people believe. But here's the thing that you need to know. In Luciferianism, Lucifer is not seen as the devil or Satan. In fact, they're seen as complete opposites. While Satan represents darkness, Luciferian gets its name from Lucifer, which means light bringer or morning star in Latin. And as I studied the esoteric interpretation of Lucifer, I realized that he isn't a dark satanic figure, but rather a symbol of enlightenment. Eliphas Levi, the famous occultist, said, "What is more absurd and more impious than to attribute the name of Lucifer to the devil? That is, to personified evil. The intellectual Lucifer is the spirit of intelligence and love. It is the Holy Spirit." So here, Lucifer is less about fiery pits and dark desires and more about bright ideas. But what is it that Luciferians actually believe? Well, Luciferianism can be difficult to define exactly because it's associated with mystery schools, secret societies, philosophy, and hidden knowledge. Now, these groups have existed for centuries, passing down teachings that are meant to enlighten and empower their members, but they're often secretive, which adds to the mystery surrounding Luciferianism. In fact, many groups that embrace Luciferian principles don't use the name Luciferian. In other words, there could be groups around you that follow these principles without you even knowing. They might call themselves something else entirely, but the core beliefs remain the same. But what are those core beliefs? In Luciferianism, Lucifer is revered as an angel of light who stood up against God, not out of pride, but to champion the idea that everyone can become divine through knowledge and understanding. The story of the serpent in the Garden of Eden, when he tempts Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge, is seen as representing this. In Genesis 3:5, the serpent says, "Your eyes will be opened as soon as you eat, and you will be like God." So is it possible that what the serpent said is actually right? See, while Satanists view Satan as a symbol of darkness, representing the indulgence in the pleasures of the flesh in the physical world, Luciferians see Lucifer as a symbol of light, enlightenment, knowledge, and personal and collective transformation. Unlike Satanists, they're usually not materialists, and Luciferians often believe in an immaterial reality that underpins the physical world. Thus, Luciferianism emphasizes the pursuit of higher consciousness and spiritual enlightenment, making it completely distinct from Satanism, which is about exploring human nature and rejects efforts to transcend it. While Luciferians believe that pleasure is important, they understand that there are higher goals to achieve. Luciferians often embrace reason and philosophy and seek to raise their awareness and understanding of deeper truths about existence and their place in the universe. They're often deeply interested in hidden knowledge associated with esoteric and occult traditions like Gnosticism, Hermeticism, and the alchemical transformation of the soul. But do they see Lucifer as a real being? Well, for most Luciferians, he's seen as a symbol and an archetypal force of energy representing qualities like love, reason, and wisdom. Though some might believe he's a real being, Luciferians agree that ultimately it doesn't matter, since Lucifer represents becoming divine. This doesn't mean worshipping Lucifer as a deity, but rather striving to reach a godlike state through personal transformation, enlightenment, and reaching higher levels of consciousness. Luciferian ideas have influenced various movements and publications throughout history. Lucifer the Lightbearer was an anarchist journal published in the United States by Moses Harman in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Well, why choose a name like that? Well, Harman chose the title because it expressed the paper's mission. Lucifer the Morning Star symbolized the ushering in of a new day, and Harman believed that Lucifer represented the role of an educator, challenging traditional views and promoting enlightenment and knowledge. Helena Blavatsky, the occultist and co-founder of the highly influential Theosophical Society, said, "Lucifer represents life, thought, progress, civilization, liberty, independence. Lucifer is the Logos, the serpent, the savior." Blavatsky's work in theosophy incorporated many Luciferian themes, emphasizing spiritual enlightenment and the pursuit of hidden knowledge. And she also published and co-edited a magazine called Lucifer. On the cover it says that it's designed to bring to light the hidden things of darkness, and includes a quote that reads, "The light bearer is the morning star or Lucifer, and Lucifer is no profane or satanic title. It is the Latin Luciferus. The light bringer, the morning star, equivalent to the Greek phosphorus, the name of the pure pale herald of daylight." Luciferianism has also been associated with Freemasonry. In the 1890s, Leo Taxil, the French journalist, claimed that Freemasonry was associated with worshipping Lucifer. He said that 33rd degree Freemason Albert Pike had addressed the 23 supreme confederated councils of the world, instructing them that Lucifer was God. But actually, Albert Pike never said any of that, and there's no such thing as the 23 supreme confederated councils of the world. That all turned to be completely made up by Taxil, and it's now known as the Taxil hoax. It is true, however, that highly influential Freemasons have mentioned Lucifer. In his book Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike said, "Lucifer, the son of the morning, is it he who bears the light, and with its splendors intolerable blinds feeble, sensual, or selfish souls? Doubt it not." Manly P. Hall, another 33rd degree Freemason, in his book The Lost Keys of Freemasonry writes, "The Mason has learned the mystery of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands." So what are the seething energies of Lucifer? Well, Freemasons point out that when Masons speak about Lucifer or the energies of Lucifer, they're talking about the morning star, the light bearer, which represents the search for light and wisdom and knowledge, and it doesn't have anything to do with devil worship, and it's the total opposite of Satan, as we've seen, which is an archetype of darkness. Ultimately, while Luciferianism is mysterious and hard to pin down to a specific definition or apply to any specific group, it's about reason, freedom, and apotheosis, about becoming divine, collective advancement, and reaching higher states of consciousness. On the other hand, Satanism embraces the darkness associated with the devil, and it's a materialistic system that focuses on indulging in individual human and animalistic urges in the physical world. While Luciferianism and Satanism are separate systems and often opposite to each other, they do share some things in common. Both support creativity, excellence, success, freedom, individuality, and enjoyment, and they both show respect to others and reject dogmatic religions and blind belief. So the question is, which one makes more sense to you? Satanism or Luciferianism? And do you think the world would be a better or worse place if, instead of Christianity, we had Satanism and Luciferianism? Tell me in the comments. Always remember, these are broad generalizations, and every group is going to have their own interpretations, beliefs, and practices. If you want to know more about the difference between Satan and Lucifer, watch my video, Lucifer is Not Satan. And if you want to help my channel grow, become a member on Patreon or right here on YouTube to access all our members-only videos. And I want to give a big shout out to everyone who supports. My name is Morgue, and I am Neogenian.